everybody. I'm Brian Enton in for Ashleigh tonight. It is Monday. We are live from New York. I just got out of Florida just before the hurricane hit today, so my heart is with all my Florida people tonight. But we have a packed crime show for you tonight. Do we now finally have the clue needed to solve the senseless murder of TV star Johnny Wacker? Remember, Johnny was just walking back to his car after work when it was all jacked up, and he ended up getting shot in Los Angeles. It was just a senseless murder. They were stealing his catalytic converter, and he just stumbled upon it. Well, these killers have been on the run for months. We don't understand how it is that they can't catch these guys. It's a high-profile murder, but tonight there are new photos. Johnny's friends and family are hoping we'll finally solve the case. They will join me live in a moment, and we will go through these new surveillance photos together. Also tonight, I'm sure some of you had very exciting Saturday nights, hopefully. I spent the entire night on the sofa with my dogs watching Dirty Pop, the boy band scam. It's not exactly something I was planning to watch. I'm more of like a murder mystery, thriller, horror kind of guy. But I was talking to my friend. She said, you've got to watch this Dirty Pop docuseries. I ended up binging it, staying up till 2 a.m., had no idea that there was this creeper scammer behind the scenes running all these boy bands from the early 2000s. Lou Pearlman is his name. He ran the longest Ponzi scheme in U.S. history. He was stealing money from the boy bands. He was stealing money from investors. He had this like weird blimp company that you learn all about in the series. The whole thing is really fascinating. Totally sucked me in. Well, tonight we have the stars of the Netflix docuseries. They are going to join us live, tell us what the deal is with this guy. He was behind NSYNC and all these other boy bands. They're going to join us live in just a little while. And later we have a jail phone call like I have never heard before. I mean, seriously, this is so cringe and disturbing and just weird. You remember this guy is named Wade Wilson, the tattoo face killer, accused of brutally murdering two women. One of them he strangled and then ran her over with a car 20 times. I mean, this is like a bad, bad man. Well, he has this cringe call with his girlfriend from jail. We're going to play it for you. It's a lot of like, oh, baby, we'll see each other again, baby. Send me some food, baby. Then he says, oh, I was never going to kill you, baby. And it goes on, and there are like so many baby references, more than you can even count. Has to be like the weirdest call I've ever heard. Not just because this guy is an alleged killer, but the girlfriend also seems very, very odd. And I can never wrap my mind around the fact that these women just seem to love these killers. We're going to dissect the call with the best of the best. Dr. Catherine Ramsland, my hands-down favorite serial killer expert. She is going to join us live on the show later. But we begin tonight with the awful murder of TV star Johnny Wacker and new clues that are emerging. It has been more than 10 weeks since the up-and-coming TV star was gunned down outside a Los Angeles bar by thieves trying to steal the catalytic converter off of his car. It was an awful, awful murder. The actor was best known for playing Brando Corbin in almost 200 episodes of the long-running soap General Hospital. He was shot despite never putting up a fight, and to this day, his killers remain on the loose. Well, tonight, LA police are again asking for the public's help. They've put out never-before-seen surveillance pictures of 3 possible suspects. The photos show 2 men in gray hooded sweatshirts and 1 man in a black hooded sweatshirt. They are outside a stolen 2018 Infiniti Q50, black with a tan interior. Police say that suspect 1, the man who they believe actually pulled the trigger, has a tattoo above his left eye and another on his right cheek. I'm joined now by Johnny's mom, Scarlett Wacker, and his brother, Lance Wacker. I'm also pleased to welcome Johnny's best friend, Micah Parker, who has been relentless with his calls for action, and also Johnny's friend and coworker, Anita, who was with him when he was killed. I thank you all for joining me tonight. It is such an awful, awful case, and I'm hoping just by spreading awareness with these new photos, we can get the word out a little more. Scarlett, have investigators been keeping you? First of all, Scarlett, I'm very sorry for what happened to your son. I want to make sure you know that. But are investigators keeping you up to date? Has there been anything new? Do you think these new photos might drum up some interest?
I am encouraged by the new photos, and I've heard that there are some people sending in tips to the number that's on the flyer, which is fantastic. I'm encouraging people to continue to call and send in photos of what they're showing as other catalytic converters, a same Saturday morning at 3 a.m. and a dark car very similar to that. So hopefully they're tracking all that as well. And so, yes, I think this is a huge step. And as far as communicating with me, they can only tell me so much. So they just do the best they can and say they're working hard. And this shows me that they are trying.
Yeah, Lance, are you confident in the investigation right now and the work happening behind the scenes? Because I have to say, when I first heard about this, and you hear LA and you hear, Soap Star, I figured this would be solved pretty quickly, but we're now like more than 2 months out.
Yeah, it's I'm sure with most murders, you want to make sure they build a case and give them the time to make sure they have everything they need to get a conviction. So they say they're confident. We're going to put our trust in them, and with this latest break, we hope that things seem to be going in the right direction. So yeah, I'm feeling pretty confident. So.
Yeah, it definitely seems like a step in the right direction with the photos now being released. Anita, you were actually with Johnny when this happened, and my heart goes out to you. I can't imagine what that must have been like. When you saw these photos, did it bring that moment back? Are these the people you recognized from that night?
Absolutely, yes. And also there's been a bunch of kind of roller coaster feelings about it, because I woke up to texts the other day just being like, have you seen the new footage? LAPD released some information. The detectives actually came to me with this exact footage a little while ago. And you've all scrutinized it. You can't really see much. But in my gut, I told them straight, I looked them in their eyes and I said, in my gut, I feel like these are the right guys. Like, these are them. And as we've also said, you can't just throw this out into the public immediately and all that. They have a system, and I'm trying to believe in that as well. It's hard to believe in that when, this is really weighing on us all so much, but it really is their job, and we have to do our best, as well as not letting out too much information, or they're not calling me every day telling me things, because they have to do this. They have to put everything in order, cross all their T's, dot all their I's, in order to make this a successful arrest.
Yeah, it makes sense. And with a lot of the cases we cover, family and friends will get frustrated during the investigation, but in the end, they're relieved when it's solved and happy that it was a tight case, which is what the police try to do. I'm curious, though, Anita, we've now got the new photos. Obviously, the tattoos have been highlighted. But since you were there, if people are looking and think, maybe I recognize that person, is there anything else that really stood out to you that you think people should be on the lookout for?
I've been questioning that since the day of. Unfortunately, these guys were literally covered with the kind of ski masks that just show their eyes right here. So it's kind of like, I just remember the initial guy that was down by Johnny's wheel stood up and his eyes just surprised, just big, wide and surprised. I did tell the detectives that, if I were to see that specific one again, I would recognize him. But there's nothing to my knowledge that I can put out there and say I don't even know about the tattoos. I didn't know about, any kind of specific thing, because they were completely covered.
Yeah, and for people who might not be familiar with the case, it was just so senseless. And maybe you can explain it a little more, Anita. You and Johnny were just walking home from a bar to his car, right? And the car, you get there, the car is jacked up. They're stealing the catalytic converter and then basically just kill Johnny for no reason, right?
Yeah, it literally happened within moments. We were laughing and talking down the side of the street, so the cars were to the left of us. So we didn't see them originally, and we thought that his car was getting towed. But then once we stepped into the street and saw, the guy had a ski mask and all that, we were like, oh, and kind of stood back. But also, he was like, what are you guys doing? This is my car. We didn't know. I've learned so much about the whole catalytic converter theft that I never even was aware of. Had we known that that was the case, had we seen them across the street or something, we would have just followed down the corner and never approached. It wasn't like we were trying to, save his car or anything. We just didn't know what was happening. And Johnny's just such a peaceful person. He wasn't throwing fists and cursing or anything. He's just like, guys, this is my car. What are you doing? but without any kind of, there was not a single word from the suspects. They literally just shot him immediately. There was no push or shove, which could have, they easily could have just gotten away had they just stood up, pushed him away, jumped in the car, and gone. So when you say senseless, I mean it to like every single essence of that term. It was completely senseless. There was absolutely no reason. And I think that's the hardest part, specifically for myself, but I'm sure for his family and everyone who loved John.
Yeah, and I think just watching this, it's like it could be like anyone. I mean, that could happen to anyone.
They saw him and they just shot him.
Yeah, I was just saying, I think anybody watching this, it's like it could just be anyone that could find themselves in this situation. Micah, I know that you've been pushing City Hall. Obviously, the photos are out now, so that's good. It's keeping interest in the case. But you've also been pushing for a reward. Where have you gotten with that, Micah?
Well, listen, authorities are very open to that. So far, it just hasn't seemed like it's been necessary. And with the information that came out yesterday, it seems like things are moving in the right direction. So they've not been dismissive of that request. They've been very open to it. But I think things are moving in the right direction without it. So it might not be necessary. And that's what we hope, is that they have leads that are strong and they'll be able to bring these guys in without that.
Scarlett, just tell us a little bit about your son, Johnny. I mean, I was looking through his photos. People may know him from the show. He seems like he was pursuing his dream in L.A. What was your boy like?
Mm-hmm. He was. He definitely would set a goal, go get it, and usually achieved all of his goals. Very kind-hearted, compassionate person, as you've heard. People from everywhere, people that never even met him, have contacted me and just knew him like through his Instagram page for being on General Hospital. And we're talking about how he helped them so much. I mean, he never even met them, but helped them through whatever it is one of them said PTSD and stuff that I was just like, I was amazed that, never met him, but still was helping people. Just a very kind soul. Loved to climb, loved to be outside, active, like I said, here again, it was senseless, like Anita said. He would have given them his car, if that's what it would have taken. He'd have been fine with that. So.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the photos and videos of him, Scarlett. So many people move out to L.A. Chasing a dream, and he was able to attain it. He was on his way, and he was, in TV shows. I mean, it's so sad to think that it was just taken from him like this.
Yeah, he had a lot of life left ahead of him, and good life. Was doing a lot of great things, had done a lot of auditions, a movie that's still being worked on that will premiere. And they stole a great person and took a lot away from everybody.
Lance, what would you say to anyone out there that may know, who did this? There's obviously people who either recognize the people or, rumors have gotten around. What would your message to them be?
Well, really just comes down to doing the right thing. If it was their family member, Johnny had information about something that, something like this that happened, somebody that hurt so many people, he'd be the first person to come forward. That's for sure. He wouldn't have wished this on, probably some of his enemies. There's no way he would wish something like this on him just because, just such a kind, giving person. And I think with the outpour of everyone that knew him, would probably speak to the accuracy of that because he's just a good man. It took a lot of time and, a great soul from a lot of people who loved him. So
yeah,
if they know anything, if anyone knows something, just do the right thing.
I'm just curious, Anita. You live in L.A. I was in L.A. years ago, and then I was there pretty recently for work. And, in the downtown area, it felt a little more dangerous and I guess like seedy than I remembered. I know this is a rare occurrence for something like this to happen, but, do you feel safe there? Do you feel like this is part of a bigger issue, Anita?
First of all, unfortunately, it's not a rare occurrence that it's come to my knowledge more so since this. I even had somebody tell me they were like their grandmother was shot over a catalytic converter. So these people that are out there doing this theft, you know, they're not going out there with a baseball bat. They're not going out there with like their own strength. They're going out there with loaded guns, ready to fire at will, whether there's, you know, a threat or just somebody trying to protect their own property. I don't feel safe in LA. I've been here for 12 years. I'm from the East Coast originally, but being a seasoned bartender, when Johnny and I started at Level 8, we were like, oh, this is great. It's a brand new thing. Like, we're really excited about it, but there's no parking. And that was our main concern. That was our main concern through most of our staff. And Johnny and I talked about it extensively. We were just like, well, it's a cool job, but, you know, it's worth it. Yeah. And I spoke to somebody today, and their words really hit me, where they were just like, they're like, as soon as he accepted the job, he was dead, which is really perfectly true, because, you know, we were promised parking. We were promised that we were going to have a safe place to, you know, park our vehicles. We're late time bartenders. We get out that morning. We got out at 3:15 in the morning, and about 5 to 10 minutes later, Donnie's gone. So yeah, I am no longer at that job, but I'm a freelance bartender as well. So, you know, I still have to make a living. I still have to put my work out there. And even the other night, I picked up a gig, and it was just in downtown again. And they're like, oh yeah, there's street parking. I'm like, no. Right. If I can park in front of the door, I'll do that. But
yeah, I don't blame you.
It's like, you know, that's part of my new life. It's like I have to relive this of just my own safety as well. It could have easily been Johnny or me, or it could have been both of us.
Yeah,
you know?
it's very scary that you can't even just walk to your car without this happening for no reason at all and no fault of your own. It's very scary. Scarlett and Lance Wacker, Anita Joy, Micah Parker, we appreciate you all coming on tonight. We'll continue to follow the story, and hopefully we'll have a positive update soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, if you know anything at all about the case, LAPD is asking for you to contact. They've got a Central Bureau homicide detective. The number is there on your screen. There's 2 different numbers if you recognize anyone in those surveillance photos. All right, coming up next, pop music mega producer who swindled hundreds of millions of dollars from people behind America's biggest boy bands. The Lou Pearlman rise and fall is a big part of the music industry's dark history, and it is all laid out in one of the hottest Netflix true crime docuseries. Live with me next, 2 former boy band members who rode the pop music roller coaster with the Lou Pearlman. That's his name. He was at the wheel. Did they see the crash coming, or were they caught up in the fame and pop star life? This is a crazy story if you were into these bands in the 2000s and 90s. We're going to talk about it next. After this show, of course, and you will see in the top 10 U.S. programs and even on the global list of most popular shows right now, there is a 3-part docuseries. It is called Dirty Pop, the Boy Band Scam. And it's all about an era in pop music evolution that produced the Backstreet Boys and NSYNC and O-Town. And one side of the boy band era was shiny, with gold records and world tours and nonstop video play, all the stuff that we saw. The other side, though, was dark and dishonest and cost the fortunes of many people, due largely to the greed and misdeeds of just one man, that guy right there, the notorious boy band creator and manager, Lou Pearlman. Take a look.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, NSYNC.
Nobody has a better talent for developing teen pop than Lou Pearlman.
Lou Pearlman.
Lou Pearlman. An impresario who is in sync with the times.
Often refers to himself as the 6th Backstreet Boy.
He was moving all his money.
He messed with a lot of people's lives.
Where's my money?
We were all betrayed.
Sold his soul on the run from the FBI.
Hi, I'm Lou Pearlman.
So it's estimated that Pearlman used his influence in the music world to fleece investors out of about $300 million. One band that Pearlman created was made up of 5 guys out of Orlando, Florida, and called Natural.
Let me just fly, let me just fly, let me just fly, 'cause you can't hold me down.
The band Natural recorded 2 albums and toured the world under Lou Pearlman's management until they called it a day in 2004. And I want to welcome Ben Bledsoe and Michael Johnson. Ben was lead singer. Michael played drums in Natural. Michael is also the executive producer of that documentary series on Netflix, Dirty Pop, the boy band scam. Thank you both for being with us. Michael, I want to start with you. I mean, did you ever expect that the doc would be this popular? I mean, top 10. I watched it this weekend. It seemed, my friend was just texting me, I just watched it this weekend too. I mean, what do you think it is that's drawing people in?
Well, I think one thing we know is Lou had a great eye for talent, and that has been still spreading throughout the world with the bands being still on top of the world to this day. So I think the giant fan bases and people like you just interested in entertainment and also in crime. We tried to really thread that needle and have a good balance of entertainment and crime, which this story is completely.
Yeah, Ben, it seemed like Lou was definitely like a complicated character. I mean, you obviously very hateable, stole money, and took advantage of people, but at the same time seemed kind of like loving to the bandmates in a way. I mean, it must have been hard to kind of like wrap your mind around it.
Yeah, I mean, Lou was one of those guys that we kind of knew going into it that he didn't have the greatest reputation with like the business side of things. But even with that, and us sort of having tried to avoid working with him for a while, he was so charismatic and he knew exactly, and Michael touches upon this a lot in the doc series, he really knows how to show you what could be and make you believe it and make others believe it. And all of a sudden that just kind of starts to become reality. So he was a super charismatic guy, very complex guy. Yeah, I think we always kind of knew, again, that there were two sides to it, but we certainly didn't know the heavy depth of what was going on in the background. Just, a little bit that Lou was maybe a little shystery. Yeah, shyster is a good word. I was wondering, Michael, when I was watching it, these young men come in for these jobs to be part of these bands, and I mean, I'm just thinking like family members and friends. Did anyone ever say like, wait, this contract doesn't feel quite right, or we might be getting taken advantage of here, or are people just so excited for that opportunity that they sort of just overlook all of that stuff?
Well, I will tell you, any record deal is not great, and I've been signed since Lou, and the attorneys always said, this is as good as it's going to get. So especially back in the day, they're always pretty predatory, the music contracts. But again, he would show us, here's what you can achieve. And once we started to really achieve that, we're on world tours. We had a gold record within a year. Those things started to become tangible to us. So we just kept buying in. And a lot of people around the bands would just see the success and were along for this ride that was so unique and just something that most normal people don't get to be a part of. So he would promise you 20 things, and the 2 that he would follow through on were so massive that it kind of erased all of the others that just kind of seemed very strange. So again, he was a master. He was a master manipulator, and he was just incredible at weaponizing people's dreams and just like taking what he knew you wanted and delivering some version of that to you to just keep stringing you along. And I've just never seen anything like it. Yeah, and for people who watch the doc, Michael, I mean, you're with him really until his arrest. You're traveling the world with him, obviously believing in him until the very end that he, is a good businessman and all of that. I mean, did it come as a surprise when it all came crashing down, or was there part of you that sort of expected that, the feds may have been looking into him all this time? I mean, there were rumblings that the castle was crumbling in Orlando, but we were touring the world, and usually when somebody's on the run from the FBI, they're not walking red carpets and accepting awards on live television in different countries or meeting with world leaders like we were. So it was a very bizarre thing, and up until the time that he was arrested in Bali, he was meeting with industry leaders, world leaders, and just working his butt off trying to make things right. But obviously things had gotten so bad and snowballed to just beyond repair that he was arrested and was put where he belonged.
Ben, one thing that I was left with questions about was there was this part of the series where they talk about him liking to rub some of the young man's shoulders and being into them working out and their good physique. But it also said that he was like an asexual guy. I mean, were there ever inappropriate situations that he got into that you all were able to uncover as part of all of this?
I mean, I can only speak to myself. So I'm not going to pretend to know things I don't. Lou, I think asexual is probably a fair assessment from my perspective. I think he also was just sort of like a big grown-up kid in some other ways too. So like it was weird for us being 16, 18, 20, maybe to a small degree. Like he'd come over and rub your shoulders and stuff like that. But I can't say I ever felt like terribly uncomfortable. I never felt like I was in a situation that I was worried about. It was just like almost I don't know, if he is gay, I feel sorry that he hasn't been able to come out. If he isn't gay, okay, fine too,
Yeah, and when you look back at the videos now, I'm sure it's, it kind of looks creepy. It kind of looks like a big creepy guy, but I'm sure in the moment it's kind of like a different feeling. Another thing, by the way, people should check out is they actually have Lou Pearlman in like AI. You guys used his image and then what he wrote in his book and had it look like he was actually talking and telling the story, which I've never seen before. Really fascinating to see. And just an interesting documentary all around. Ben Bledsoe and Michael Johnson, thank you so much for coming on tonight. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for watching.
All right, the 3-part docuseries, it's called Dirty Pop, The Boy Band Scam. Again, the top 10 right now on Netflix. It was a pretty good watch. Again, kept me up late on Saturday night. All right, still to come, a suicide that is impossible to explain. This is such a weird case. Ellen Greenberg, a 27-year-old teacher, was found stabbed to death in her kitchen in 2011. She had 20 stab wounds in all, 10 of them to the back of her head and neck. Yet somehow the police and medical examiner ruled it a suicide. This is the diagram that always gets me. How does someone do that to themselves? Her parents have spent the past 13 years trying to have Ellen's death investigated as a murder, and now the new news tonight, the highest court in Pennsylvania handed down a game-changing decision. A big update on this one. Ellen's parents join us live next. Ellen Greenberg was stabbed to death in her Philadelphia kitchen. Her parents may be one step closer to finally getting justice. The 27-year-old teacher was found by her fiancé, Samuel Goldberg, who told police he had to kick open the apartment door after returning home from the gym and receiving no answer. Now, he says Ellen was leaning against a cabinet with a knife sticking out of her chest with 20 stab wounds, 10 of them to the back of her head and neck. Here is how he described the scene to a 911 dispatcher.
I went downstairs to go work out. I came back up. The door was latched. My fiance's inside. She wasn't answering. So after about a half hour, I decided to break it down. I see her now just on the floor with blood. She's not responding.
Okay, is she breathing? Look at her chest. I need you to calm down, and I need you to look at her chest. It's really.
I really don't think she is.
Listen to me. Someone's on the way. Look at her chest. Is she flat on her back?
She's on her back. So I bring her.
Look at her chest and tell me if it's going up and down, up and down.
I don't see her moving.
Okay, do you know how to do CPR?
I don't.
Okay, I can tell you what to do, okay, until they get there. I want you to keep her flat on her.
God.
Hello?
Yeah, hi, okay.
Are you willing to do CPR with me over the phone until they get there?
I have to, right?
Okay, so get her flat on her back, bare her chest, okay? You want to rip her shirt off. Okay, just kneel down by her side.
Oh, my God. Ellie, please.
Listen, you can't freak out, sir, because you
okay, I'm trying not to. Her shirt won't come off. It's a zipper. Oh, my God, she stabbed herself.
The medical examiner first ruled Ellen's death a homicide, then months later, after meeting with police, changed it to suicide. Now, for more than a decade, Ellen's parents have fought to have the suicide ruling overturned. Just last week, the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania gave them a big win. agreeing to consider whether they have legal standing to formally challenge the ME's finding. And I am joined now by Ellen's parents, Josh and Sandra Greenberg. Thank you both for coming on tonight. I've followed your story for a long time, and my heart goes out to you. And this is obviously a very big development. Josh, what are you hoping comes of this? I mean, ultimately, are you hoping for police to reopen the investigation?
Yes. We've only asked for, I think, 3 things. Number one, change it from suicide to a homicide or undecided. Have an unbiased investigation led by an unbiased leader. That's all we've wanted. That's all the suits are about. We've met every obstacle that the city of Philadelphia could come up with, for even things that don't exist anymore. It's just they gave somebody high immunity. Did you ever watch Mel Brooks movies?
Yes.
Anxiety?
Yeah.
Sounds like the same thing, doesn't it?
Listen, I mean, even to outsiders, I think everybody who sees that diagram of all the ways that she was stabbed cannot understand how you would do that to yourself. It just doesn't seem to make a lot of sense. And you guys have been digging, Sandy, you all have been doing investigations for years now. I mean, what have you come to, Sandy? I mean, did police just look the other way? Have you all been able to figure out who you think may have done this?
First of all, the police, the district attorney, the attorney general, the medical examiners all used every tool in the toolbox that they could to deflect, defer, and keep us out of their way, not give us answers, not do due diligence and give our daughter justice. And that's why we're fighting, because that's not acceptable.
The court below the Supreme Court wrote a 32-page judgment. First of all, they ruled we don't have judgment. We don't have standing 2-1. Now, the 32-page description of what everything is, the last paragraph in the first section, the second page, the city, the district attorney, the police, and the medical examiner did a faulty examination. That's what the judges wrote. I'm quoting. I'm not even paraphrasing. It was so easy.
And so now we're going before the Pennsylvania State Supreme Court to argue our standing.
Now,
we are the parents of Ellen Ray Greenberg. She deserves justice just like anyone else in the Commonwealth.
The next 30 pages were all about the reasons and the evidence that says why we should get justice for our daughter. That's all we're trying to do.
Yeah, I understand. And you both have fought for so long. Again, I've been following your story, and this is such a positive step, I think, that the Supreme Court in Pennsylvania has ruled this way. We'll continue to follow it, Josh and Sandy. I hope you can finally get some justice. I'm glad it's getting a lot of attention. I saw a lot of articles over the weekend. So we really appreciate you both coming on tonight. And I hope that we can have a positive update soon about some kind of progress. Thank you both so much. And the GoFundMe, by the way, I do want to tell me the GoFundMe real quick, Sandy, because you guys have spent an enormous amount of money fighting this and the legal bills.
We have a Facebook page called Justice for Ellen.
Justice for Ellen. Okay, so that's what people can look.
The links you can go there from there.
Okay.
If you donate.
We've got it on the screen there now, because I know you guys have spent like hundreds and hundreds of thousands litigating this. So thank you for coming on. Yeah, okay, wow. We'll continue to follow it, and we'll be in touch. All right, still to come tonight. His face is as memorable as his vicious murders, but that does not stop groupies from going wild. Oh, look at the tattoos on this guy, but some of these crazy women love it. Wade Wilson awaits sentencing for killing 2 women. He gets a phone call with his ex-girlfriend, and he shows his hold over her even after he was locked up.
I think that after all this, I think I'm going to prison for the rest of my life, and I think that you still love me, and I think either you're going to end up one day just ditching me, or you're going to love me forever, and we're just going to have to make it work from a long-distance relationship.
And wait till you hear what she says back. We're going to have Dr. Catherine Ramsland on. She's going to help us dig in. What's wrong with these men? What's wrong with these women? She's going to tell us coming up next.
Mary, Janet, hey.
Eddie, no, Fraser, Frank. Frank?
Fred, how are you? Fred.
Fuel up to 7 brain health indicators, including your memory. Join the Nariva Brain Health Challenge.
He strangled 2 women and mutilated one of them, running her over with a car repeatedly. He also has swastikas tattooed to his face. But Wade Wilson also has fans. Since June 12th of this year, the day he was convicted of double murder and a jury recommended a death sentence, Wilson has received almost 4,000 messages in jail and more than 750 photos. So-called Let Wade Live letters have poured in to the judge ahead of his formal sentencing, which will be later this month. And there's even an online petition that has more than 30,000 signatures. And now a phone call between Wilson and his then girlfriend has surfaced from October of 2019, shortly after he was arrested. Take a listen to this.
Hey, baby. How are you?
Yeah, God damn.
I know. Yeah, I know, Mila. I know, baby. I know. I f***ed up badly. The worst.
This is not a up, babe. This is not a up.
No, this is more than a up. You got to understand what I'm telling you. And we got to get over this if we're going to be talking a little bit, at least. I never was going to kill you, ever.
I could have been saying, I'm waiting for mom. This guy, this little boy on the news says, I'm waiting for my mom to walk through the front door. You did that to his mother.
Yeah.
What if that was your mom? Think about it.
I know, I do, every day.
I'm not thinking about this.
I am, Mila. I am. I think about this every day. Trust me, I am. I want to.
Are you
Mila.
sorry?
Yes, I'm sorry. I want to die, Mila.
You can't just kill people, Wade.
I know, baby. Baby, I know. I know, baby. Listen, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
So is the news has been outside of your spa the whole time?
Baby, I've got 5 people, they show up trying to get me to do an interview.
When I was on the phone with you, you were on the phone with the cops, weren't you?
What do you mean?
Like when I was calling you, and you were like, I was like, baby, I need a bus. Baby, you set me up. I went to Joe's Crab Shack, and the cops tried to get me.
I did set you up for that, yes.
You did?
Yeah, I was scared of you.
Okay, fair enough. At least you're honest.
You said you wanted to see me, kiss me on the forehead, tell me something. I was scared of you. I said,
okay. Okay, I'm not mad at you. I'm sorry.
You can't be mad at me.
I know. Yeah, I know. Okay.
God, I'm sorry.
Okay. Okay, baby.
You were about to get your teeth fixed.
I know. God damn. Oh, my God. Huh?
Now you have to look like a hillbilly forever, Joe.
I know, baby. I thought about that. Now I'm going to be ugly forever. I'm going to be honest with you. I think that after all this, I think I'm going to prison for the rest of my life, and I think that you still love me, and I think either you're going to end up one day just ditching me, or you're going to love me forever, and we're just going to have to make it work from a long distance relationship. Either you're.
I'm going to be with you when you're in jail. I don't deserve this. Wade.
I know you don't, Mila. I know you don't, but if you really love me, which I'm pretty sure that you do, I mean, I felt that you did.
I love you, Wade. You can't just stop loving somebody. It's unfortunate, but I can't.
Yeah. Mila, honestly, I love you, and I think that you're going to hopefully at least go a couple of years with me, maybe.
I'm joined now by Dr. Catherine Ramsland. She is a forensic psychologist and author of several books, including The Mind of a Murderer. Dr. Ramsland, it's always very nice to see you. I'm curious your reaction to hearing that. There was a whole 20-minute call that I listened to where she's very affectionate to him, too. Baby this, baby that. I mean, it's weird how these women, they like the killers, even with the tattoos and everything. What's that about?
I think she's actually a little bit leery of him. She wants him to understand the enormity and to acknowledge the enormity of what he's done. He doesn't do that. It's all about him, but she's not yet willing to let him go. There is a sense of a bad boy attraction for her, but that's certainly what we're seeing with the online community, the response to saving him. There's a movement, Team Wade, of people wanting to belong to this community of women who want to save him, who want to mother him, who think he's salvageable. And she seems to be part of that, although I think after this call, she eventually extricated herself from the relationship.
Yeah, and his laugh just freaks me out. And then there's a part where he's like, oh, baby, will you buy me food? But just the laugh, it's almost like, I don't know if he just doesn't realize the situation he's in?
Well, he started the call by asking if she was going to ditch him right away.
Yeah.
He was a little nervous about that. He does not want to be abandoned. Once that's been established that she's not going to abandon him, he can just take advantage of her, and he continues to do so throughout the call. He's more interested in the fact that there's been media attention to him. He talks a bit about being famous, being Bundy. He's more interested in that than he is really in her welfare and what she's feeling. Occasionally he'll say, I know I did this to you and me, but it's always about him. Everything goes back to him.
And you mentioned some women like these, like bad boys, even with the tattoos. I mean, and he's a killer. It's kind of hard to wrap your mind around.
Well, he's actually got a kind of vulnerability, so that the tattoos and whatnot, which are all about power, make him kind of look like an insecure boy who's trying to be tough. And I think that really calls to the mothering in some women. They want to take care of him. Or if they want to be with the bad boy or be with the guy who's got some fame, they want to be associated with that. There are various responses to this.
So interesting and disturbing all at the same time. Dr. Ramsland, it's always nice to see you. Thank you for coming on tonight to help us understand this. It's kind of like a freak show, I would say. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Okay, Tom Hanks is one of the most popular actors in the world and a cultural icon, but that wasn't enough to protect him from burglars. He is the latest of a long list of entertainment superstars to be targeted. I'll tell you all about it next. Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson are the latest Hollywood superstars to be robbed. Last month, thieves reportedly smashed a window to get inside Hanks and Wilson's guest house. The couple was luckily out of town at the time. The burglars never made it into their main house, only the guest house. It's not exactly clear what, if anything, was stolen. The suspects are thought to be part of the many crews that have been robbing celebrities' homes in Los Angeles. This has really become a thing over the last couple of months. Modern Family's Sarah Hyland and Marlon Wayans were also recently robbed, and there's been several others too, so this is all now under investigation. No indication whether or not any of it is connected. All right, that is our time for tonight. Ashleigh, she's been on vacay, but she will be back tomorrow night. I hope everybody has a great night. Thank you for staying up with us. Cuomo is next.
All right, everybody, I'm Chris Cuomo. I appreciate your company here at NewsNation. So, I said Trump could win the election, and the left went off on me like they heard me shout Voldemort at Hogwarts. This is not superstition. You don't speak things into existence. This is about numbers, messaging, and money. Welcome to politics. But tonight I'm going to put it differently, and maybe each party can find some sukkar in it. And those of you smart enough to be independent will get some food for thought. 3 points. Point one, if you look at the state of play, better minds, including Professor Alan Lichtman of the 13 Keys, they'll tell you that this is